Welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Investor Podcast. I have been traveling recently, but I'm so excited to be back here with you. If you're new here, what we try and do is move you forward in a very short amount of time. This podcast is fairly short. Plus, there is no time, and it's all about momentum and, diminishing the gap from you living and being conditioned in the 3D world, and now we're in this new money paradigm where it's all about space and energy and all of that. And so how do you pull the energy down and then go back and use that in the 3D world so that you are actually using the 3D world, it's not using you, and then you come from a place of freedom. And I want to talk about that today as well. And by the way, these are pretty casual, just kind of this information. I don't, it's just coming through and it's going to land with you and you can take what you want of it. My whole goal is to be here and to manage my energy so that I can show up and provide value to you. I will tell you though, I am coming off a bit of a high because we just did a 7-day challenge inside of the SI Club, and it was beyond belief, just in terms of we had over 300 comments, and just the way that people were showing up and doing the work and going vertical and the transformations they were having, it, whether it be with money and investing or even just their relationship with money. So I am coming off of that a bit, but and some of the stuff we did talk about in there as well. And I think you still have access to the videos for a few more days. So if you want to jump in there at $17, the SI Club, we'll put the link here in the show notes. So I want to talk about freedom though, because this has been coming up a lot lately, and I think that we're all kind of feeling like, oh my God, the element of control that is going on out there, right? Freedom actually has become to feel like its own currency in a way, because it's something that freedom kind of feels scarce to us sometimes. And how crazy is that, given that that's actually the thing that we are born with, right? But it's our own kind of lack of internal liberation from this weight that we carry around with regards to money, with regards to feeling stuck. And I think that we do this to ourselves because we want to control things, even though we're thinking that we're not controlling things. Control is very normalized within us though, because we see control as being normal because we have been controlled, right? That's just like, we were very much, it's like a stand in line kind of background for us. And so now we're living in this, okay, well, now it's kind of anybody's game. Now we see that we're trading our energetic currency as being traded for all kinds of things, like any type of abundance, including money. I mean, you can create an online business and then, suddenly be out there and be connecting with people and having money come in. You couldn't do that 25 years ago. So this is one of those things where I think that the biggest divide is, I think there's one switch factor, or if you will, differentiating factor between kind of the way that we used to do things in the old world paradigm. And there was freedom there too. I'm not saying that this is something new. The freedom was just by a very different definition. The freedom in the old world was based on, how steady is your job, and we were able to live in a society at one time where you could, maybe just one person could have a job and the other person could stay home with a family even. I mean, that's not as feasible anymore. But freedom was definitely more defined by time. We had more time then. I would say it's not that we had more money, but I think it felt like we had more money because I just don't think that we had as much sort of going on. Now, we've got a lot of constraints, and it's all about Now it's about taking our time back. Now it's about creating space. And that really, speaking of that, is, in my opinion, the differentiator from the old world and the new world. And the old world is about getting money. It's about what can you do? How can you trade your time and your energy and your education and what you know and all that? How can you trade that for money? Well, now it's about creativity. We don't want to trade our time anymore because we see the limited nature of that. And it's about managing your energy to the degree that you are allowing more of your real self to come through. And why does this matter? Well, it matters because we're all expanding in our consciousness. And so we are moving away from the old world paradigm, which relied more on the senses, on things that you could see, feel, touch, all of that. And we're moving into more of an energetic realm. And the reason is because we're more connected to ourselves. And so the connection to ourselves is causing us to be able to sense, if you will, energy in a heightened way that we didn't have access to before. So there's no wrong or right. There's no good or bad. It's simply being in line with what is happening now and where are we now. Now, the problem is we're still trying to do money like we were conditioned to do money, and it does not fit in this new world paradigm. And so we are exhausted and we're frustrated and we feel like our freedom is being taken away and that we're being controlled by money, when really it is the lack of willingness to let go of control within ourselves around the fact that you're trying to make a world work that isn't relevant anymore. And so once you realize that living in the new world paradigm is no longer about getting, it is actually about creating the space so that what you want, money in this case, can actually step in. Completely different. And I tell you, I have been going through a lot of this myself, in that it feels so different sometimes that it almost feels wrong. And that's what's so challenging about it, and also what's so fun about it as well. Let me give you an example. So you need someone to do something for you, right? And this could be money. You need money to do all this stuff for you. This could be in a relationship. You need that to happen. But if you find someone to do that and to meet that need for you, it is unsustainable to a certain degree. I mean, unless they're just willing to do that, unless they just want to do that. But what effectively is happening is there's a lack within you that you're needing to have filled. And so what happens is this puts us on a certain frequency. And with money, when you go out there and you have a need for money, you are definitely operating on a different frequency than if you're out there just completely free and you have all the money you want and you can just do and say whatever the hell you want. I mean, you can feel that. You can feel that difference, right? Well, which one is more of an invite? An invite, right? It's, I used to use this example, and it's kind of funny. It's like, you think about the guy at the bar. Okay, so the guy at the bar is like, I want to buy you a drink. I want to buy you a drink. Come on, can I buy you a drink? Well, you have your certain reaction to that. Then imagine a different scenario where a guy at the bar is like, doesn't say anything to you, maybe looks at you, maybe smiles, and then waves at the bartender and says, I'll have what she's having. It's a different situation, but it could be that that person wants the same result. But what's happened is they're willing to create a space, and they're not going to superimpose their needs on you in the form of, I need a direct connection here. I need evidence to see that this is happening, right? So it's very different. And by the way, the same exact thing is going on in your life with money. And you are mimicking a lot of the stuff that you have in your relationships with money, and vice versa. So why do we care about all this stuff? Well, we definitely, we want to be wealthy, but at the same time, a lot of people feel so incredibly guilty about being wealthy. And this is something that, I have made it kind of my mission to talk about a little bit more, because there are a lot of people that detach being spiritual from being wealthy. And I am really, really a big, I don't want to say proponent, because there's nothing to be a proponent about. I feel like I am a big, maybe pillar, if you will, for those two things aren't related. It might have seemed like that, but again, the moment that you are in that line of thinking, you're back in the getting mentality, because the only reason you think that is because you're basing it on a getting situation. Spirituality has no connection to money when it comes to how good of a person, how bad of a person, are you doing enough in the world, are you in service, all of that. Spirituality does have a connection with money in that, what are you doing when you say that you are going through your own spiritual growth? You're expanding into greater consciousness. Well, what is that? That's really increasing your capacity to receive energy and to then give energy, because your receiving is a direct function of your offering, not your offering in terms of your product. That's a result. It's your offering in terms of the quality of information and listening and love that you are willing to bring through. And you will be, and this happens indirectly, kind of like the guy at the bar who's like, I'll have what she's having. This will happen indirectly, that you will get abundance returned to you based on this that you do, based on that quality of that offering. Now, where it gets a little tricky is that you're deciding what type of abundance you want. Abundance is just energy. Money and love are the same energy. All of it is the same energy. If you're defining abundance as having a lot of trees around your home, and that you love that and you're in gratitude about that and you want that and you want more trees, then you go out there and that's what the universe is going to deliver to you, because you have agreed to it and decided it. Therefore, you have set your ability to receive. The moment that you start to think that money is not spiritual, then you have shut down the faucet, so to speak, because you have said, that's not part of my identity. Well, then you go out there and you want a spiritual business and you want to get paid money. And then you're like, I'm giving all this value, which you are, but you have said you don't want the money. And so if you can get away from the identity that you wanting the money or receiving the money is somehow going against your value. No, it doesn't. You're not giving more or less value because someone's paying you $1 versus 100,000 until you interpret that. Now, where it gets into trouble is, again, in the old world paradigm, we see all these spiritual leaders who then became corrupt and did all of this horrible stuff because they were like hiding piles and piles of gold in the back room. Well, that is because of their interpretation, and that is because of their intention that was behind it. It just so happens that they were a spiritual leader, but there are just as many people who were not spiritual leaders who did that, and there were just as many people who were spiritual leaders who did not do that. So ultimately, you are choosing your truth. You are choosing it when it comes to the world, and you are first and foremost choosing it when it comes to you. And you are going to continue to bump your head against the wall with money until you choose money. And the way that you do that is it has to fall in line with the self-expression of who you are. Everything that's coming to you in your life is a self-expression of who you are now, which is based on your identity, which is related to the frequency that you operate on and the magnetism that you're out basically interacting with the world with. And so that is determining everything. That's why you want more money, you have to start within. Now, this has nothing to do with healing money blocks. That's fine. if you want to go that route, that's fine. To me, I always want the accelerated route, and healing anything of the mind to me is not the space I play in. I play in the world of energy, and then what I do is I bring that in to the 3D world, and then I choose an action step from there. The equivalent to that in the world of energy is, and I have these practices, and I go through this very deeply with you in the Spiritual Investor Mastermind, which is training you basically, and you will practice this through my guidance, is to completely drop the past. Now, a lot of people can do that sort of temporarily, but can you do that long enough so that you rise to that frequency where you have more access to the things that you want? That is when you will start to see money come into your life in an effortless way, because you are doing the work internally to receive, and you are choosing money from a place of a new self-expression that you did not have access to before. So most of you are out here doing this because you want to do something great in the world. When you start to see that you building wealth is the expansion of you in the world, and they are not different, they are actually exactly the same thing, then you will not feel like you are sacrificing anything. You will not feel like you have to be in an argument with your own integrity. Now, what this will also do is it will force you to challenge your own identity. And that is really good, because when you challenge your own identity, what happens is you don't get so locked and entangled with the identities that are outside of you in the external world, and you can actually do more out there. So what I mean by this is, if you go and let's say that you're out at an event or something and you are angry and mad, or let's say you're elated and having fun, if you are emotionally so attached to that you're entangled in whatever that cause is, that you're really not seeing new opportunities and answers and come in, you're not as useful as you could be. If you are more centered and within, and you are there, then what you're going to do is you're going to come in and offer something new. You're going to come in and offer solutions. And we saw this with Martin Luther King Jr. So the power that we see in people that are changing the world are also the people who don't need the world. If you don't want to need the world, then it is your responsibility to become financially free. If you want to reframe that in terms of scarcity and lack, and that you're a shitty person, then I'm going to say that's on you. And by the way, people don't come to me to be their best friend. They come to me so that I can share with you what I see is kind of really going on. And I hope that you can feel that this is coming from love. This is stuff that I'm also practicing myself. I am constantly keeping myself in check with my own entanglements that are here. But I also have a great responsibility to the gifts that have been given to me, that are going through me, because I don't feel like any of this is mine. I feel like it is what is my responsibility is managing my energy so that more of this comes through. But I want to have a real impact here, and so do you, and therefore it is my responsibility to become wealthy. I already have become wealthy, but to be even more, so that I can expand more out to you, because I do really great things with this. And more wealth in the hands of people who are conscious is a really, really good thing. And when you see this as a responsibility to be wealthy, it's not actually about money. It's about getting you and your lower self out of the way. That small version of you is the one who falls into lack and scarcity. And we don't need that version in the world. We have plenty of those, and they have big microphones right now. We don't need any more of those. We need the version of you who you have handled and you have checked off the boxes for your smaller self. Because the reality is, you came here in the 3D world as a human, and you have certain needs. Well, if you're going to tie your passion and what you want to do in the world to those needs, then you are throttling down your effect in the world. And so the way that I teach this to you is through what I call money neutrality. And so instead of you going out there and having to do all of these things because you're busy enough, You have a lot to do in the world. What I do is I teach you this as a way of being and as a practice so that it is an internal change, if you will, that is going on that is creating the space for and the invite for more money to come in, but it is also expanding you into your own greater consciousness. And as I said, we go deep, really deep in on the mastermind on this, and actually we are open right now for enrollment for the next couple of weeks. This container does fill up. It is extremely powerful. If you want to really come into your own brand new money self with regards to your business, with regards to how you show up as a leader, you will speak to your children differently. Your relationships will be different. You'll be different because you'll be operating at a different frequency. You will also be running and managing your own intelligent investment portfolio, because I teach you how to call more money in, and then I teach you how to expand it through investment. And that's another thing I want to talk about, because investing is the most beautiful thing in the world, because what it does is it's a new channel for you. It's a new channel of wealth. And the more that you can think about investing as that's just an additional income for you, and to stop thinking about it as it's all this risk and it's something that you're going to do wrong and it's something you don't know how to do, like shift your frame on that, and you will have access to the fact that, okay, well, let me just expand money then, so I don't have to go out there and earn every dollar. Like, where's the problem there, right? I mean, our current mastermind container, which is ending this week, the market has gone up 13% since they started in it. And then when we had that thing with the tariffs that came out, the market dropped. So if I look at it from when the tariffs dropped until now, the market's up 28%. So basically what I'm trying to say here to you is you can go and do and learn wherever you want, but make sure you're learning somewhere, because wealth is all about positioning. The way that you become wealthy is that you position yourself in a way to receive, and so you are locked and loaded when the opportunity steps in. Out of 100 decisions that you're making in your life, you really only need to knock it out of the park with about 5, but you're making some of those decisions, the key ones right now, and you don't probably realize it because you think, oh, I'll just wait until I have more money, or I'll just wait until my business takes off, or I'll just wait until I pay the debt off. There is never a reason for you to wait to learn how to expand money. Actually, that is going against what you're trying to do. You don't have to have a lot of money to learn how to invest. I mean, we've been buying a $12 stock for 3 years that pays 9%. So you don't have to have a lot of money to invest. You also don't have to be debt-free. You don't have to be in any situation, because remember, money is ones and zeros. Money is just a circumstance. No different than you have a relationship that has gone sideways. There are circumstances. If you want to go within and see what your cause is in that relationship crumbling, and you want to go back to the table with full love, what's going to happen in that relationship? You might not get the results that you want, but you will free up the energy in that relationship, and you will free up and open a channel for that flow to come through again. Think of that. Now superimpose that on money. You are absolutely learning things right now that are paving the way for your future with money. And you are also making decisions right now that are paving the future for your money. And I want you to be designing a financial life that supports you. I want you to have a game plan with it, because when you have a game plan with it, you can actually get behind it. You know, a lot of times we talk about, okay, we have these visions. Well, a vision board, or like you write in a journal or whatever, yeah, that's great. But if there's really nothing actionable behind it, and I'm just going to pause here and say, when I say actionable, I mean not action born out of what you think you should be doing and what's been on your list that you haven't done in a while, because that's probably like chewed gum. It's probably not coming from the right place. I'm saying free yourself from all of that. Go into the energy of what you want and connect on a different level, and then the action is born from there. You will see that you will have a whole different list. And that's one of the things is, you know, being able to sort of guide you through this, because I have this too, where I have this stuff to do with money where I don't want to like call the insurance company and find a new quote. I mean, maybe some of you guys do that. I'm not a detailed person. I am more of definitely a creative who has a tendency to buck structure a bit. And that's why I designed it. The SI method is a 5-part, it's nonlinear. It's something that you apply to your life. You apply to every single money circumstance in your life, and it will take you through a structure, but it's not like you have to do this as step 1. You have to do this step 2. For me, I find that that's not relevant to people on a larger scale, because I don't know where you are. But if I give you something where you can sort of come in at a different point, then what you do is you say, oh, well, I am good at money management, so I don't really need to start there, but I have no idea what I'm doing with investing, but that's kind of my interest. So you already have some momentum so that you enter at that point. If you are in lack and fear and scarcity, and if you have debt and you want to start that, then okay, great. Then you kind of go in on the breaking the structure point or the money neutrality point. So hopefully this is helping you by really showing you how much power you already have, and that you're not actually doing this wrong. No, you're not. And you should not have any regrets. The thing is, the only thing a regret is just you future forecasting something that you don't want to happen again. And if you were really being and operating from your higher self, there's no way that you could have a regret, because you would realize that you're just giving attention to something that is a repeated pattern, and giving attention to a repeated pattern creates more of a repeated pattern. Another thing that I really take you into, and that I practice constantly myself, is that we create our own world. The game is you and you. And the more that you can really, and I know you've probably heard that before, but if you really, really believed that and you embodied that, first of all, you would have so much power. I mean, you can't even fathom the power that you would have if you truly embodied that. But evidence that you don't embody it is if you blame someone, if you think that your circumstances have something to do with somebody else. If you need something from someone, and it's okay to need it, but if they need to provide it, and then if they don't, if that throws you off, then that's also something that's an entanglement. All of these things can tell you that you're not actually within your conscious self, and that's actually what we're craving. So we are not craving the money. We are craving that new version of us who is the embodiment and the self-expression, who would have that level of freedom that we believe that money is going to give us. It's all about freedom. And this whole process is really you escaping and getting out of you, because that version of you is the only thing that's holding you back. And money is a great way for you to do this, because there are very few things in the world that hold us tighter into our own survival than money does. And so I don't know. I feel like I'm looking the tiger in the eye when I work with the energy of money as a spiritual practice. I also really like it because I'm seeing my wealth grow as well. And stocks and money and portfolios, by the way, investment portfolios, are very creative. And you will see, even if you join the club or advance any of the spiritual investor programs, you will see that people have gotten to know themselves, their own creativity coming into the landscape of money, and they're discovering themselves in a whole new way, because money has never been presented to them in a way that can look like this. And then once that happens, then you're not feeling like you need to sit down and do something. You doing that thing is just a natural part of who you are. So hopefully you have found something in here that has helped you move forward in your day, in your life. Thank you for co-creating this for me. Definitely send me a message on Instagram if you have any questions. join the SI Club. It's $17, so that's easy because we have extended conversations in there. Applications are open for the mastermind. It's quick. That'll take you about 5 minutes, and then we give you an opportunity to jump on a call with the team and get any of your questions answered. So it's a quick process, but what we found is that people learn a lot about themselves, even just going through the process of applying the mastermind, because they're seeing things about themselves. And I think the mirror, that's what we're looking for, right? The giant mirror. But what do we do when the mirror is shown back on us? Like, where do we create from then? All right, so much love to you. I'll see you on the next episode.